In October of 2023, Israel launched a large-scale attack in Gaza in response to an attack by Hamas. The extreme response of the Israeli state has led to the deaths of thousands of civilians, continuing their long history of colonial violence against the Palestinians. Around the world, citizens gathered in support of the Palestinian people. Continuing my yearly tradition of showcasing Anchorage, Alaska for my channel's anniversary, I dedicated this 3-year anniversary video to covering a pro-Palestine protest in Anchorage, featuring local activists as they took a stand against colonialism and oppression.
Welcome, welcome. Going to get started probably in like 15 minutes. Want to give people some more time to show up.
Hey. Nice to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
You want a sign to hold with your camera?
I'm good. I'm going to keep one hand free.
Today we're trying to organize a protest around the apartheid of Palestinian people. There's 2 million people that are living in an open air prison, and it's not right. It's been this way for almost 100 years. Like, if we can't stand up for what's right and, you know, human dignity, then I don't think we're gonna make it in the world. I think this is like the kind of thing that needs to be stand up for. The amount of human suffering that's happening at the hands of just like the biggest backed military government in the world, essentially. Like I was in the military, and I know just what we're doing, what our allies are doing to people. Mm-hmm. And I think what's happening at Gaza is one of the worst situations in the world. Like as we speak, I can't think of it really any other situation at the moment that's equal to the amount of harm and sadness that's being caused and being done to these people. So that's why we're protesting today.
He was just talking about some powerful stuff that I was losing track of because I was losing my sight.
You were saying about this conflict and the global implications and the reception.
Well, right. I mean, people don't realize that nearly 1/5 of Palestinians are Christians, you know. I mean, the founder of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine is an Orthodox Christian, and Israel in the last several days attacked a hospital run by the Anglican community. They also attacked a Greek Orthodox church, killing hundreds of people. I think people are really starting to understand that this isn't, you know, it's not a religious war. It's not a war of Islam against Judaism. It's a war of colonists, of a colonizer state against Palestinians, most of whom are Muslims, some of whom are Christian, but all of whom just want to have their own state, you know, to live in freedom.
As more members of the community began to arrive, the PSL organizers and members of the community slowly began the demonstration.
To start, I want to start with the land acknowledgement, and then we will have a prayer, and then we'll have some speakers, and then we're going to go ahead and march. So I hope people brought the right shoes. If someone has their boot on your neck, it is not wrong to get that boot off your neck by any means necessary. Absolutely. And for myself, you know, I'm an Iraq war vet, and when I went overseas and got deployed to Iraq, Iraqis had the absolute right to fight me. They had the absolute right to defend their home from occupation and invasion. 100% down, 100%. I spoke to one Iraqi, and I asked him, I became good friends with him, and I asked him, I said, if I were in an MRAP or a vehicle and you had to detonate an IED, would you feel bad? He laughed at me, and he thought about it for a second, and he said, I would do it, but I'd feel very bad about it. And so that is what we are dealing with.
On behalf of the Muslim community in Anchorage, Alaska, I, Imam Dr. Mahjoub Jaili, would love to add our voices to the brave people who are standing here today in order to condemn the violence against the innocent civilians and the innocent people in Gaza, Palestine. I'd like to say, peace be upon you all. Peace be upon the innocent people in Gaza. Say it aloud. Peace be upon the innocent people in Gaza.
Peace be upon the innocent people in Gaza.
And peace be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Can you tell me about your thoughts on the U.S.'s support for this?
The U.S. is guilty of genocide and terrorism by supporting the Zionist entity. All members of Congress should be prosecuted for genocide, war crimes, and terrorism.
As people living in the imperial core in the United States, we have to fight back. We have to show the world that Americans stand with Palestinians, and what Israel is doing is genocide, it is ethnic cleansing, and we have to demand that our government stop funding it.
When our tax dollars could be going to public education, public health care, public transportation, community fitness centers that are free, you know, making healthy food, bringing healthy food to our communities because we got hella food deserts up here, you know. Our taxpayer dollars could go to so much better stuff, you know, actually getting take-home science textbooks for the ASD. We didn't have those when I was in it. So, and I went to the wealthiest school in the state, South High, for a couple years.
The protesters practiced their chants in preparation for their march through downtown Anchorage, mirroring a larger global trend of people voicing their dissatisfaction with the status quo.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
As the demonstration began its march toward the heart of the city, a group of Canadian geese soared above the protesters, as if leading them on their path. This vivid contrast between the geese flying freely and the restrictions imposed on the Palestinians reinforced the protesters' determination to advocate for Palestinian liberation.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
What do you think the future is going to look for this conflict in your eyes?
That's a good question. What I hope happens is that people understand the need to give legitimacy to the Palestinian people because they have it for so long. And as you can see, like when you put people in a box and don't give them their rights, they don't have any options. You know what I mean? So I think the first step is we have to listen to the Palestinian people, which hasn't been being done for the last 75 years.
Free, free Palestine!
You filming? Woo, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
I think that no matter how much misinformation there is, no matter how much Israeli pressure there is, this reality is becoming impossible for people to ignore as the genocide in Gaza ramps up. And even traditionally pro-Israel segments of the religious establishment, I think, are having to respond to this.
If you look at what our local U.S. media is saying, you know, the issue of Palestinian, like how they feel and what's being done to them is just not even a concern. So I think that the public showing up and being mad about what's happening is going to be an important step in getting like recognition of this issue and like actually giving these people the time of day to say what they need and tell us what needs to be done for them rather than like, you know, just everybody else talking.
While the march continued through downtown Anchorage, the annual Alaska Federation of Natives Convention, the largest gathering of any Native American group in the United States, also happened to be taking place. This powerful coincidence brought into focus a shared understanding of colonial violence between the Alaskan Native peoples and the Palestinians, bridging the vast difference between their worlds. Can you give me a few words before my camera dies, since you're the main organizer?
Free Palestine. We're here to stand up as people living in the imperial core. It's important that we speak up and stand up for Palestine and demand that our government stop funding Israeli apartheid and the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
With the march winding back to its starting point in the park, the protesters gathered one last time, exhausted yet inspired. Community leaders spoke briefly, underscoring the importance of solidarity and the ongoing struggle for Palestinian liberation.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
good job, everyone. This is definitely the biggest pro-Palestinian event that I think has ever been in Anchorage. There is no both sides. There is one side, and that is the side of justice. That is the side that is anti-colonial. That is the side that is anti-genocide. And that is the side that is pro-Palestinian.
Oh, thanks. I don't have much to say, but I just want to say, free Palestine and damn be imperialism.
With the Palestinians community, and we are supporting because we don't want an operation like the Palestinian people is being oppressed, hospitals being demolished, public amenities and mothers and kids are dying, so we don't want this administration to support the genocide. And thanks for everyone today. It was a great event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And justice for Bashar.
Justice for Bashar.
Thank you to everyone who has been supporting my channel over the last 3 years, whether you're newer here or you've been here from the very beginning. If you'd like to continue supporting my channel, go check out some of my other videos, or check out my Patreon, which I just recently relaunched. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.